Jessica Valverde. I am a sorcerer at Google. I also am a dog mom.
But my name is Shannon Whittington, and I am a clinical nurse educator.
You don't have got a calculator.
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
Your strategy.
Yes. Hello. Welcome.
What up?
Love it.
I am a man of faith. I am a motivator. I am the.
I am Brian Witcher. I am the director in coaching development.
Yes. There you go.
I don't know, but might be one of the old guys.
Was subtle. Oh my gosh. I was hoping that we were just gonna get into a game.
This is the intros. What you gonna do?
Kevin, would you mind doing a little intro for yourself?
Why don't you go throw it at her?
Yes.
Is vibrant and bright. But my name is Carmen Drummond, and here is my
Tiny mic.
Yeah.
Really loud.
So Val, Jessica.
Yes.
Hey, who are you?
Well, currently residing in Tucson, Arizona. That's okay. I've been doing Pinterest marketing for 5 years.
Hello, everyone.
Hey,
Hello.
hey,
I don't hear
everyone.
an echo. Do you hear an echo?
No,
Oh my goodness.
that is the that's the streaming God saying, yes, ladies,
Oh,
you've got
love
this.
it.
Season 2 is
Season
on.
2. We had some technical
Yes.
difficulties backstage, but super excited to kick off the show. Let me get my mic really quick and do a quick intro. My little iPhone stand here. My name is June Colaroso, career strategist and recruiter. I'm super excited to kick off season 2 with my ladies here. Let me pass the mic to my lady on the right.
Hey, everyone. Valerie Mackey here, content writer and SEO strategist. And I have a blog, Oh Hello Work Life, because work life can be quite surprising. And I just want to say I'm so excited to be here and to be with you guys again. It's been a while, and I cannot wait to start this show.
Yes, love it.
All right, ready? And I'm going to pass my mic, my hairspray mic, over to you, Jess.
I'm ready. Happy Thursday, everybody. I am so excited for season 2. As Val said, it is crazy how busy life has gotten.
Oh my goodness.
Right? My name is Jessica Williams. I am the resume finesser and job snatcher. Just out here hustling and flowing, just like we all know how to do. Super excited for our guest to open us up today.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. And she is ready backstage. She's ready, waiting for us backstage. I don't know if she knows to bring a mic. So, Jasmine, if you know the deal, you have to bring in a mic, whether it's a hairbrush, a pen, whatever is by you on your desk.
A water bottle.
A water bottle, some Kleenex, some Lysol wipes.
Do your thing.
But I'm so excited to welcome Jasmine to the show. Miss Jasmine, well, Dr. Jasmine Escalera. Hello.
So I didn't know that I was supposed to bring an object as a mic, but I do have something off camera that I wasn't going to show on camera, but I mean, now I'm going to use it as my mic.
Yes.
It is Thirsty Thursday, ladies, and y'all asked me to come up on here at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, so I was having my wine.
Oh, awesome.
Perfect timing.
You want to introduce yourself?
I am Jasmine Escalera, and I am a career and confidence coach for women of color.
Yay, I think we're all a little like nervous to say anything because we hear echo.
Now we hear the echo.
Yep.
Yeah. But you know what that says? That Jasmine is a force to be reckoned with. She messes up like the technology.
I mess up technology. Like it's just
so powerful.
Just so powerful. Your confidence, right? Oh my goodness. How should we do this, everyone? Can we just wing it and see where it goes? Or
just wing it.
Just wing it.
Let's do
Let's
it.
find out a little bit about Jasmine. So we know about your career.
Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to tell it. So I actually am a full-time career and confidence coach now. I stepped into my business full-time only a few weeks ago. Prior to that, I was in the STEM field for 20 years. I'm not trying to date myself. Don't try to figure out how old I am. This is, definitely all, it's all SPF and everything I need to do to keep it looking fresh and young. But I've been in the STEM field for 20 years. I am a Latina who grew up in the projects. So as you can imagine, stepping into the field of STEM, which is still very white male dominated, but when I stepped into it was even much so, was very jarring for me. And it really, took a toll on my confidence. Growing up in the projects, I feel like I was around, my people, Black and brown people, and we supported each other and championed each other. And stepping into that environment was really challenging for me because I didn't feel like I had that sense of community again. So because of that, I really, unfortunately, went through a journey of imposter syndrome, went through a journey of conformity, code switching, in an effort to really feel like I belonged and to feel like I could obtain the level of career success that I was looking for. And that led me to having a lot of really negative experiences, including mental health issues, where I developed a lot of anxiety, panic attacks around even stepping into the workforce. So because of that, I started to recognize and realize that I wasn't embracing my whole true self. I can remember even when people would ask me, like, where did you grow up? I had no problem saying I grew up in Brooklyn, but I didn't want to claim the fact that I, grew up in the projects because it was so different from everyone else's journey that I didn't think they could understand me. I didn't think that they were going to accept me. So I just decided, one day I was so tired of being someone else or trying to be someone else and still not being successful, still being passed over for promotions and pay raises. So I decided to say, F it. I'm just gonna, be myself, be the person that I want to be in this space so that at least I feel good about being me. So I took myself through this very, long and deep professional and personal journey in which I reclaimed my story, my identity, my culture, my community. And that to me was what actually made me unstoppable in my career. And it's funny because even though I say I was unstoppable in my career, I still faced a lot of challenges. Being a woman of color, when you are strong, when you are confident, I sometimes think it can even be worse because you're representing yourself as this big personality, which you should be, right? You're taking up the space that you should, but that makes people around you very uncomfortable. So, when I started to see almost in a way, like if I make myself small, I don't feel good. But if I make myself big, I'm still facing these issues. I at least decided I wanted to feel good about me. I wanted to feel good about the way that I was representing myself every day. And through that journey, I just decided, other women of color are experiencing this as well, irregardless of what field they're in, being the only, feeling the pressure to be someone else. So I really wanted to, join the ranks of women like you, coaches like you, who are supporting our community and helping women to really step into their power, represent themselves the way that they want to represent themselves, and claim success in the way that they define it. So that's really what I do is I help my clients to recraft their narrative, connect back to their story, build a success-based mindset, and then develop strategies that help them to claim their worth, own their worth, and take charge of their career.
Ooh, Jasmine, you said some things that really resonated with me, especially being a woman of color taking up space.
Yeah.
It gets exhausting, it gets overwhelming,
Yeah.
So for those of us who are out there trying to figure out how to take up space, is there an affirmation you use? How do you hype yourself up?
Yeah. So, I do a lot of the way that it works for me, and it kind of sounds a little bit funky, but I feel like every morning I have to put on a suit of armor. And that suit of armor is built by my own ideas of who I truly am, right? And what I represent. So, every morning I have morning rituals where I journal every single morning. I say positive things to myself. I work out, I get some movement in, I build up those endorphins. But I have to, and especially when I was working, especially when I was doing my 9 to 5, I had to have a very strict and strong morning ritual that helped me to craft and put on almost kind of like this suit of armor that I felt like was a protective barrier between myself and the discrimination, the bias, all of the things that I knew I was going to experience when I stepped out into the work world. So that was, really important to me. And even now as a business owner, it's something that has changed and shifted because, I am doing the work that I love and I'm working within my own mission. I'm not in that environment anymore. So the work has changed and shifted, but I still stick to that morning ritual of put on the armor that is going to help you to be that unstoppable, confident woman, that powerful woman every single morning. And, they'll keep dinging at that shit, right? Like when you go to work, they're going to ding at it. Like they're going to keep pressing at it. But at least you've, really been able to put that on and you can protect yourself in some way. So yeah, I used all of it. Lots of mindset techniques, lots of positive reframes, lots of affirmations, and a lot of building myself up. And you know what? It's building myself up, but also telling myself the truth, right? Like you have to tell yourself the truth. You are a powerful woman. You have come this far. You have done all of these things. So it's not like you're saying anything that shouldn't be said to yourself. So that was one thing I had to come to realization too, is that, yeah, they're positive, powerful affirmations, but that's just straight truth. Like I am the shit. So why shouldn't I tell myself that?
Snap. I also want to, and excuse the echo, everyone. We've been having technical difficulties, so I will talk slowly. But you mentioned, Jasmine, that you dealt with this imposter syndrome, right? And then you had a turning point in your career. Because I think you mentioned, and we've done a live too before in the past. And when you broke into your career, you realized that there wasn't enough people that looked like you, that came from the same community as you. So oftentimes when we go into these situations, we are afraid to speak up, right? So what was the turning point for you? Where you realize, you know what, I'm going to own where I'm from, and I'm going to take my seat at the table because I deserve to be here.
There wasn't a specific point. I think it was a buildup. It was almost kind of like you keep pouring into the cup, but the cup is only a certain size. And so it just, at some point, it just spilled over. Like I couldn't take anymore. So there wasn't a specific instance where I could say, like, that was the point. But, it was being called ghetto in the workplace. It was being told that because I talk with my hands, that make me look unintelligent. So it was being, called names like feisty or, oh, you're really feisty for speaking up for yourself. So it was just kind of like these little things. I can even remember being on a job interview where, someone said to me like, oh, you went to Yale and you grew up in the projects? And just even the way that they said it was almost kind of like, well, of course no one from the projects could ever go to Yale. It was just like, it almost felt like there was just too many, like it just kept filling the cup. And one day, I don't know what that one thing was, but like it just filled it a little bit too much. And then it just overflowed. And I realized that like if I keep doing this, right? Like if I keep trying to be what these people want me to be, they're still not going to see me as them, right? I'm still not going to be a part of this clique or crew or whatever it is that I'm trying to be a part of. So again, I might as well just feel good about myself. Like why be a part of this? They're not going to accept me. So why not just feel good about me? Why not just wake up every day and feel good about the woman that goes into this environment and feel good about the purpose that she puts forward in this world. I just felt like that was a better representation from my life than trying to belong to a system that just wasn't created for me in the first place.
Jasmine, I need you on a recording so I could just listen to you every morning.
I think this is being recorded right now.
Well,
I can create recordings for you for sure. Like I'll just speak into your ear every morning.
I love
You are the shit.
Yes. That's the energy I want in the morning.
Yes. I will meditate to that every morning.
You are the shit.
Everyone, you are the shit. And yes, you can say shit on LinkedIn. Okay? Because we,
do they block you if you say
no, they don't. They don't. But I think you also mentioned too, like for everyone, like you mentioned about you are. This is a little bit about your content too, and just following you is your self-care advocate. Right? And I think it's important before we work for someone else, we should always spend our mornings working on ourselves.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a huge self-care advocate, and I wasn't always like that. You know, I think growing up as a Latina, like you know, my dad didn't graduate high school. My mom went to college when I was much later in life. She's just, you know, she's a school teacher that's a very, like, she works harder than most people. I have to say, if there are any teachers on this live, like, big up to you all, because that is, like, a freaking hard career path.
Yes, it is.
It is so hard. I, like, big up to all of you. So, you know, but they didn't have the same level of education that I did and opportunities that I did because of that. So there's a lot of privilege that comes with, you know, getting a PhD from Yale, but there's also a lot of pressure then to like really utilize that in what it would be presumed the correct way. Or having the right path, you know, whatever that is. And so for me, part of the journey of reconnecting back to myself, finding myself and claiming my identity really meant connecting to myself in different ways. And so it meant releasing a lot of that hustle culture and hustle mentality and a lot of the like, you have to do it all by yourself. And it meant caring for me in different ways. And like, it's interesting because like once you start to care for yourself and you start to realize how good it feels to take care of you, then, you know, the things around you that don't allow you to do that, you just start to immediately put up boundaries and say no. So it's like, you know, if anybody comes into my space that doesn't allow me to continue to pour into me, I'm just not interested. Like, I'm not interested in being a part of it. I don't want to be a part of it. So self-care and caring for you is such an important component of setting boundaries, of knowing what you will and won't tolerate. Because once you start taking care of you and you start having those Sunday mani-pedi dates, like, I'm sorry, but I don't give a crap. Like, I'm going to keep my Sunday mani-pedi dates. Ain't nobody going to mess with that. So it's a really great way to help you set boundaries because you don't ever want to give that up once you've given that to yourself.
You bring up such a good point that it at least you start on the weekends, and then how do you move forward during the weekday? You feel like you feel more free to do whatever you want during the weekends. Then Sunday night comes, and then you freeze up and you turn into another person.
Yeah.
How does one person kind of change that mindset?
Yeah. So it's really hard because I think that as women, we are almost kind of bred to like think that we have to take care of other people above ourselves. And so self-care shouldn't be a weekend activity. It should be an everyday activity. But the problem is that you have less responsibilities on the weekends than you have on the weekdays, right? On the weekdays, you know, your career comes into play, then you're managing that with partners and family. And so things just get more complicated. But the thing is that self-care is not a certain day activity, it's an all the time activity. But the problem is that due to gender bias, due to cultural expectations, women are expected to put other people first. And that causes a lot of guilt on us, in terms of like really putting you first. And it can be seen as being selfish when women are claiming their time. But for me, it's really about understanding what those feelings mean and what they translate to, and being able to be strong enough to set the boundaries that you need to set with yourself and with those around you. And it's not an easy process. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it and that we shouldn't continue to do it and cultivate it. But also understand that, like, as women of color, you are expected to act a certain way. And just you putting yourself first is a complete, turnaround from what the world expects you to do. And that's heavy and that's hard. But I find that understanding that is really important.
Absolutely. You definitely have to show up differently as a woman of color. It's almost like you have to walk on eggshells.
Yeah.
So how do you combat that feeling of walking on eggshells?
Yeah. So I think it's interesting because I tell this to my clients all the time, like, if I could wave a magic wand and make the work environment better for you, I would totally do that. But I think you have to own it, that it's not necessarily going to change. I mean, of course, like, things are better for us than they were for women 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, right? But the situation is the situation. So I tell individuals, like, what do you want to do that would best make you feel good about you? So the eggshells are gonna be there. Ain't nobody sweeping that shit up for you. So, like, how do you walk on the eggshells with confidence and sass and fire and still do it anyway, right? Like, I have these conversations with my clients about fear. Fear is never gonna go away. How do you make fear a part of the process? So how do you make the eggshells a part of the process? Like, take those freaking Manolos, put them on, and make it part of the process, because it's not gonna go away.
You like snap and stomp with your Manolos on those damn eggshells.
Yeah, the eggshells don't go away. Nobody's cleaning that shit up for you. You just have to do it. So I think it's, I advocate for finding the environments where the eggshells are minimal or non-existent. But that's not every environment, unfortunately. So if you are in an environment currently where you feel like that's what you are doing, then do it with stamina, do it with strength, and do it with power, and then get yourself out of there and find the right environments for you.
Yes. You don't have to settle.
No,
never settle. It's such a great market right now for people on the job market. So never settle. So if you're in a position where you are not thriving, if you're in a toxic culture, then get your ass out.
Yeah, 100%. I truly believe that. Yeah, like we shouldn't be in those spaces. And there are some great, I have a lot of clients who are like, I don't want to, it's like the devil that I know. I don't want to leave the devil that I know and then step into something that could be worse. But we have to take ownership of how we put ourselves through the job search process, right? Like, I can tell you that the reason why I continued cycles was because I didn't know the right questions to ask. I didn't take the time to think about what was it that I actually needed to feel supported in an environment. What does value mean to me, right? We say all the time, like, I feel like I'm not valued. What the hell does that mean? Like, what does that mean to you? And how does it translate into the environments that are going to allow you to thrive? So I think it's really important for us to be able to take that ownership and do that deep self-reflection and ask those tough questions, and then formulate our job search, look into our opportunities in that way of claiming our own strength, right? Know what you want and find that thing. And be okay with saying no to opportunities that don't fit it. Don't come from the mindset of scarcity, come from the mindset of abundance. It will happen for you.
Oh, yes. Jessica, I know you have to go.
Speaking of, abundance.
I do. I'm so sorry, Jasmine. You dropped so many gems.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Like I said, I'll be waiting for those recordings in the morning. And I'm super excited for season 2.
We will get
Thank
this
everybody
together with this echoing, but yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jess. Have a good call.
Hey, Jasmine, when you were talking, I had this vision of someone being in the driver's seat. Because I think when we think about a job search, we're always thinking like, who's going to hire me?
Yeah.
Let's flip the script, right?
Yes.
And say, what's the way to flip it? Like, what company is going to be so lucky to have me?
Yes.
What company do I want to work in? Like,
Which company do
it's
I
just
choose?
that simple. Like, which is the one that I want to choose?
Yes.
I think we do, our job searches can come from this odd place of like, and it can be a lot of different reasons, right? Like sometimes people go into a job search and legit, you just need a job. And I can understand that component. If you have the ability to do it in the way of coming from your own authenticity and really understanding what it is that you need and want, that's the best way to do it. Like we work for organizations we give them value, they give us money, right? But like that doesn't have to just be the transaction. It can be so much more. So if you want it to be more, then think about what that more is and find the right space for you.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's also important too. Like Ediana was here a couple weeks ago. Is at the end of the day, as an employee, we are our own business. We have our own services that we provide to employers. We are a product of our experience. At the end of the day, it's like companies have their own mission, their own values. We should do the same, right?
100%. I love that. And it's interesting because as an employee, you don't think that way. Like when I, stepped into business ownership, I thought that way because I was like, oh, I'm the product. I have to like sell myself, right? But as an employee, you're not taught to think that way. You're not taught to think about the value that you contribute and what that really means to like the company's bottom line and how your value really shapes and changes it. You're meant to think of like, what are the skills? What are the strengths? What are your tasks? Like, what are you just doing? And that translates to, the income or the salary that you receive. But I think that there's so much more there and that there's so much more that we have to offer. So if we can think of it in that way, then we almost essentially take the power back.
Yes.
100%. I think that people should start thinking of themselves as free agents. Yes, you could be a part of a team.
Yeah.
But you're not set in stone. So you should continue to build your brand online.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're all free agents if you really think about it. Nothing's ever guaranteed. I'm not guaranteed that job, and that company's not guaranteed for me to be there the next day.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true. It really is. And if we, this goes into a whole different conversation, but like, I think that we should be teaching kids entrepreneurial skills, right? Like how to be entrepreneurs, how to be business owners, how to think about their business. Not when I was a kid. I wish
we did. When you were saying some people need a job, like I still lean into that, right? Me being a freelancer, it's still a transition for me. I always still have that mentality, like I'll be here when I have a job. But I'm starting to realize that's not the case. But I think it's our upbringing and what we associate with security. It's not a bad thing because we've seen our parents work so hard, right? But for my daughter's 14, Girl, she wants to be a founder. She's already on Etsy. Like, I think because they have the technology in front of them, they're like, nothing's gonna stop us. I can just be an entrepreneur right now on my phone.
Yeah, I love that. I love that that thing of like the young kids now do have that spirit of entrepreneurship. And I love how they have the capacity to dream in that way, whereas I don't think we have the capacity to dream in that way. And I do think that the education system should cultivate that as well. Like our education systems should change in the way our world is changing, and like especially our public education system. Like we have to teach kids the way the world works, so that when they grow up, like they do think about themselves as like, I'm the CEO of my life, I'm the CEO of my career, I get to hire and fire as I choose, I'm the one that makes the choice. But you know, it's not how I grew up, and I didn't think about it in that way. So in my career, I went along with things instead of thinking I had the capacity to really be able to cultivate or create those things.
When did you actually, what inspired you to start your side hustle, which is now your main hustle, which I want to touch on next? So what inspired you to start your coaching business?
Just my own journey, honestly, of dealing with what I dealt with in my career. I hated feeling the way I felt, and I thought I was alone. Like I thought it was just me. Like I didn't even know about imposter syndrome until like a few years ago when I heard the term, and I was like, whoop, there it is. But it was really my journey, and it was really me feeling free enough to talk to other women of color, and asking them questions and recognizing that they were going through the same thing. And then I started to realize that the environment and the space was what was causing us to feel this way. But that we don't have to feel that way. Like there is strength in being able to bring your strength into the environment. And I do feel that the more that we push and the more that we make others around us uncomfortable, right? And we have to allow that to happen. Like we have to be comfortable with other people's discomfort and just sit in that. I think that true change can happen. And my goal is to inspire women to make people around them who are way too set in their ways uncomfortable. Because I think that's where it really changes. But I think what makes those people uncomfortable is just who we are. It's just us. So just bring you. That's all you have to do is bring you. And those heifers will be uncomfortable. Yeah. So, but that's where the change happens.
Yeah, and if people don't like you or like your style of like doing business or communication, then find another company that's going to embrace your uniqueness.
You're a free agent.
You're a free agent.
Free agent. That's absolutely right. Yeah.
Because you should never have to hide who you are.
No, never.
To make others happy. You want to make yourself happy. And you want to pave the way for others, which you've been doing, is paving the way for others to take that seat at the table, right? Because you grew up in the Bronx, right? The Bronx?
Yes, I grew up in Brooklyn, yeah.
Brooklyn. Yeah. So love that. All right, so we have to be comfortable with ourselves first. Yes.
Totally, yeah. That's absolutely true. And that's where I think that was a big thing for me. Like I wasn't comfortable with myself. Like I was comfortable with the person that I was when I grew up in the projects. Like because I didn't know anything different, right? I didn't know anything else existed. I can remember the first time I stepped into someone's house that had stairs, like into an actual house that had stairs. I was like, wow, like people live like this? I thought it was just something that you see on the TV. So, it was a totally different thing for me. So when I stepped out into the career world, and you're meeting people who have had, so much in their lives and so much privilege too, good or bad, however you see that, right? Like it was really hard for me to accept myself. It was really hard for me to accept the way that I grew up. It was hard for me to accept my family. It was hard for me to accept my struggle. And that was the biggest thing that I had to learn to do, was to recognize that was the reason why I was where I was. Like I had achieved what I had achieved because of all of those things. And so, yeah, that's truth right there. Like, you have to be comfortable with you first.
Love that. Thanks, Jasmine. We're going to wrap up soon, but I want to know, you took this big leap, and I'm so proud of you. It's been amazing to see you walk. You made this announcement, I want to say, was it a couple months ago?
Yeah, it was in August. It's crazy. I know, it's like, that feels like it was yesterday, but it was quite a while ago.
How does it feel to do this full time? I'm going to be real with you. I'm a little envious of you.
Yeah, it's the I have never felt so blessed in my life to have the opportunity to work with the people that I work with and to see just even one piece of their transformation, right? Because I get to see one thing, right? One snapshot, and they're all amazing. So it's a blessing. It's totally a blessing. It's the hardest thing that I have ever had to do in my life. It's so hard. And you know, when you are the product and you have to sell that product, which is yourself, it's a whole different ball game. Like what we were talking about in terms of belief in yourself and like accepting yourself, that's the core of being a business owner. It's not the social media, it's not the reels, it's like how you feel about you, because you are the product. Like you are the one who is selling you, and you're the one who's helping to create a transformation in someone else's life. And if you can't feel confident around that, it's very challenging and it's really hard. So I did the most work on myself prior to stepping into full-time business ownership. And if I didn't do that, I don't think I would have been able to make the transition.
It's one crazy roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I would love to have you back on to find out what did you do to prepare yourself to be a business owner, because I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, it was a lot of mindset work, like so much. I mean, the journaling that I talk about in the morning had to take a whole different shape. Like I had to basically become my own coach, you know, like coach myself through the challenges. Yeah, coach myself through, you know, all of the thoughts that I have. I mean, I did a lot of like, I'm starting the journey of inner child work, which is a beautiful level of work, but it's really challenging. So it causes you to go to places that, you know, you've never gone before. So like one of the things that I will share that I had to change about myself and my mindset was like, I grew up in the projects, right? Like no one around me owned a business. That was not something that we did. But there were what I considered to be business owners or entrepreneurs, but they weren't, you know, doing things in the legal space. So for me, you know, the idea of being an entrepreneur, the idea of being a business owner, I had to reshape that entire concept, because the entrepreneurs and business owners around me were not the same, like the same entrepreneurs and business owners that I necessarily wanted to become. So it was a reshaping of a lot of things that I saw as a child, or a lot of beliefs that I had growing up. And it was challenging and it was hard, but it brought me to become even stronger and better in my life, in my business. Towards the tail end of my career, I think it made me really be just like, yeah, I got this. It's fine.
I love it.
I'll figure it out.
Made it all worth it.
That's awesome.
Val, do you want to ask Jasmine the flow question before we wrap up?
So please share with us, what is your description of being in the flow?
The flow state.
What does that look for you? Look like
like when you're the most creative, whether it's listening to some Beyonce, whether it's being outdoors, where do you get that creative spark?
It's interesting because the flow state for me is when I'm most deeply connected to myself. So it is actually not anything that's happening external. It is all internal. So my flow state is this state in which like I have true belief in who I am as a person, as a woman of color, as a Latina, it's almost this connection to this being and this connection to this thought of like everything is gonna be fine. Like I'm in my most flow when I am so deeply connected to no matter what, I've got my own back. No matter what, everything is gonna be fine. Then it all just kind of like pours out of me because I don't have the stress of thinking about all of the things. So my flow state is here. It's not anything that's happening around me.
It's the first time anyone has said that. Thank you for that. Oh my God, June, are you okay?
No, I'm like, I'm not there yet.
I know you
would
know
love
that, right?
Well, yeah, I would love to be at that flow state where I'm good with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're there. I think you are there.
Oh, another song. What's the song that we didn't ask you this question? We usually ask this in the beginning. What is that one song that just hypes you up? Whether it's, and I think you actually, I heard from a little birdie that you're speaking at an event coming up in New York, or you're attending this event.
Oh, I'm attending the Confidence Summit next weekend. Yeah, for Latinas. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. You know, I have this is so funny because I'm running a group coaching program, and I posted on this exact thing today. There is a song by a group that I love, a rock band called Imagine Dragons, and the song is Whatever It Takes. And there is a lyric in there where it's like, I'll do whatever it takes because I love what it feels like when I break the chains. And I just think that lyric is so beautiful because as women of color, as women, we have so many chains put on us. But if we do whatever it takes, like the feeling that it feels like when you finally have that breakthrough, it's like nothing you've ever felt before. So that one lyric, you know, is enough for me to feel like really deeply powerful. So that's my jam.
Ooh, I love it. I gotta add to the playlist.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Jasmine, what is your last 3 tips for our community out there?
Yeah.
On how they can make their career unstoppable.
Yeah, I think in order to make your career unstoppable, I would say, like, first off, figure out what it is that you really want. Like, let go of what you think other people think you should want and really identify what it is that you want to do. And then I would say the second thing is I love asking people this question of what does unstoppable mean to you? Because unstoppable, if you ask 100 different people, will have 100 different definitions, and you want it to feel good to you when you put it on. So ask yourself, like, what does unstoppable mean, and how can I display that unstoppable quality each and every day when I step out? So define it for yourself, because then it'll feel good when you put on unstoppable. And then I think the third thing is recognize that there are going to be challenges out there, like we talked about the eggshells. They may not go away, but that doesn't mean you have to diminish yourself. Be your most powerful self in every space, irregardless of the challenges that you face.
I'm going to re-listen to this.
What an awesome way to open season 2.
I know. Thank you for hanging with us with all the technical difficulties.
No, ladies did such a great job. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. I cheers to your unstoppableness. I love Career Hustle and Flow. Cheers to you and everything that you're doing. You are all unstoppable. You cultivate unstoppable every day, and I'm just excited to just be in the vicinity of you.
Oh my goodness.
You're really gonna make me cry.
The virtual vicinity of you.
I want to meet you when Arlene is the one that told me that you all are going to be at the event, and she was like, "You should go." I'm like,
Oh yeah, well it's funny because her and I have been texting, and I actually, so my dog isn't with me because I have joint custody with my ex, so I gave my ex the dog because I was like, I'm going to a Latina event. There's gonna be a party afterwards. I am not coming home. You better take that damn dog because like that's it. I want no strings attached. Harleni's already trying to tell me what she wearing and stuff. I'm like, oh, so it's going down. You should come.
Sure see pictures. But I'm so excited. Roxy, where can people find you?
Yeah, people can find me on Instagram at Jasmine Escalera Coaching and on LinkedIn at Jasmine Escalera. I'm posting on both forums. I'm so upset that LinkedIn took away stories because that was my jam. Now I have to go back to posting. But yeah, you can find me on either platform, and I'd love to chat with individuals about, confidence and being unstoppable in the workplace.
I will drop Jasmine's Instagram. I love all of your reels. Are you on TikTok?
No, I am not. Everyone tells me to go over there, but I'm like, another platform? Oh my God.
But Jasmine, you could repurpose your TikToks on reels. I think you'll kill it. It'll be good for your business too.
Just saying.
All right. Well, thank you, Jasmine. Val, any last party words from you?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much, Jasmine. Your words really touched my heart today. And it was just an awesome way to kick off season 2. We have some great guests lined up.
So excited for the season.
I'm excited to see them all.
We are going to end the year strong and get ready for 2022. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Jasmine.
Bye.
Bye.